Olusegun Obasanjo.
I, Olusegun Obasanjo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful.
In a colorful ceremony held in the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria's military handed over power to an elected civilian leader on May 29, 1999. The mood was festive in an event attended by heads of state and representatives from more than 40 countries of the world. And the newly elected President Olusegun Obasanjo promised better living conditions to thousands of Nigerians who were present at the venue and millions of others who watched the ceremony on television or listened to the speech on radio.
I accept this destiny in all humility and with the full belief that with the backing and support of our people, we shall not fail. The beneficiaries of corruption in all forms will fight back with all the foul means at their disposal. We shall be firm with them. There will be no sacred cows. Nobody, no matter who and where, will be allowed to get away with the breach of the law or the perpetration of corruption and evil.
Military generals had ruled Nigeria for the previous 15 years, operating with decrees and the rule of the gun, before handing the mantle of leadership to President Obasanjo, himself a retired general and a former military head of state, with all the expectations that democracy and the rule of law will entrench through nationhood to a country long held by fiat and absolute power. But today, 21 years of democracy and 4 presidents down the line, where is Nigeria in the democratic blueprint?
A democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Which means that in a democratic government, the government in place must be a government given by the people. Which means it must be a representative government. Now if you look at Nigeria as it is, you will discover that we are not actually reaping the dividend of democracy. And that's the essence of democracy. If we have a democracy in place and we are not able to have the dividend of democracy, that means we have not really gone far.
But actually what we're practicing in Nigeria is actually not democracy, because we're actually not practicing a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We're actually practicing a government of some selected people, by some selected people, for the same selected people.
In my view, nothing has changed. In fact, it would be better for us to go back to military rule, because the way it is, the civilian government does not prove that they are matured enough. The military era, things were done, although militarily, but far better than this. Our economy was growing, there was discipline, but today there's nothing like discipline. It's like we don't really have government. We are not saying the present government is not doing anything, but the way corruption is going on, the way a lot of things are happening, we are not mature for democracy.
It is on record that the country's economy has significantly improved according to World Bank data, with its GDP having grown 6-fold since the return to civilian rule, rising from $59 billion in 1999 to a staggering $410 billion in 2019. More foreign investments made entrance into economic circles compared to the military era, with the value of the naira appreciating significantly in the forex markets. However, Nigeria, still heavily reliant on oil, with petroleum representing 83.9% of total export revenue, was hard hit when the global oil price crashed in 2016 and went into a recession, its first in 25 years. The economy, the biggest on the continent ahead of South Africa, has not fully recovered. Unemployment stands at 23% and inflation at 12.13% in January 2020, according to official figures. According to the National Bureau of Statistics figures, 43% of the country's 190 million population is either unemployed or underemployed, while according to Washington-based Brookings Institution, some 87 million Nigerians live in dire poverty. Summing up the actions and inactions of key players and leaders who have sworn to provide better living conditions for Nigerians under self-rule, many have been prompted to ask the question, is democracy the answer to Nigerians' woes?
We are not mature for democracy. In fact, if you ask me, I will tell you it will be better for us to go back to. Though it's not proper, but I would rather want us to be in that era than to be what we are doing today. Because some people are suffering. A lot of people are suffering. And if you compare with the period of those days, nothing like that. Today you can see every angles, every groups agitating for this, for that. Yesterday, of course, Kanu and Dokubo, they were saying that they had to, Biafra must come to stay. Why? It's not because they couldn't say it during military era. But here today, because of what people are facing, because of there was no corruption in military era. I won't say there was no corruption, but it was not as you know, very large as this.
I didn't look at it as a system that developed the nations any longer, because it has graduated the numbers of thieves and criminals within the nation. Instead of people to develop the nations, people are developing themselves.
It takes the grace of God for us to have true democracy. Of course, no doubt that our elected representative will come to us during election and ask us to vote for them. We will vote for them. Now we are speaking about government, representative government, that's what a democracy system ought to be.
Since 1999, when the country broke with military rule, 5 general elections has been conducted, all of which has been tainted by controversy. From widespread electoral malpractices characterized by rigging, ballot snatching, to varying degrees of violence and loss of lives, with destruction of public and private property. The concept of free and fair elections is almost a mirage in Nigeria, with majority of the results of elections often challenged to the highest court of adjudication in Nigeria. Not forgetting the issues with internal party democracy, which has led to the worrisome phenomenon of cross-carpeting, with its attendant lack of political ideology. This and the often accompanying violence that has characterized elections in Nigeria has largely led to voter apathy and declining interest in political mainstreaming, especially by the youth and women population in Nigeria. Efforts at voter education by government and private agencies have not yielded much results, especially with the electorate, while constitutional processes at changing the negative electoral fortunes in Nigeria is still work in progress.
There cannot be good governance unless the electorate, holds the elected people accountable. And one of the ways we can go about it is to ensure that, look, we don't vote a wrong people. We don't vote wrong people into elected positions. They can let them come with their money, collect the money, and look at their antecedents.
PricewaterhouseCoopers, a global auditing firm, had predicted that Nigeria could lose up to 37% of its GDP by the year 2030 to corruption, as the country still remains one of the most corrupt nations in the world, with Transparency International ranking Nigeria 146 out of 180 in its 2018 Corruption Perception Index. President Muhammadu Buhari made the fight against corruption one of the pivotal agenda of his administration on assumption of office in 2015 and further strengthened the anti-corruption agencies and the whistleblower policies. While the efforts earned him international recognition as a champion of anti-corruption, the situation at the home front with corruption in high places still remains a thorn in the flesh of the present administration.
This particular government came on the mantra that it will fight corruption. And indeed, other governments had been putting things in place to fight corruption. What is corruption anyway? It's the misapplication of state resources, the misuse of state power, the misuse of opportunities, which creates an uneven economic level, an uneven framework when we expect a corrupt-free society. We expect that government and state actors should fight corruption deliberately by the systems we put in place, checks and balances we put in place. But we also expect that the public should be abhorrent of corruption. So the public continues to create the environment whereby instead of hailing corrupt people and hailing corruption, they should be looked as pariahs by the public.
Since 2009, northeastern Nigeria has been hit by security challenges. Boko Haram, a group that wants to establish an Islamic state following strict interpretations of Islamic laws, has waged a deadly insurgency across the region. The violence has killed thousands of people and forced more than 2 million Nigerians from their homes, while the United Nations and human rights activists have accused both Boko Haram and security forces fighting it of putting civilians, including many children, in harm's way. Many pundits have opined that the increasing rate of crime with the rise of insurgent groups like Boko Haram, ethnic militia, marauding ISWAP terrorists, and the terror herdsmen menace are all pointers to either the weakness, inadequacies, or ineffectiveness of democratic governance in Nigeria. 21 years of democratic rule, despite its setbacks, still has many upsides that endears it across board as a desired form of governance. Democratic rule in Nigeria has opened up several opportunities for Nigerians to excel in multi-sectoral endeavors such as sports, entertainment, agribusiness, and the fourth estate of the realm, the press, which has thrived under the several democratic dispensations in the country.
You're growing, we're the younger one. When we actually youth, you're telling us we are the leaders of tomorrow, but we are growing to find out that we are actually not the leaders of tomorrow. Rather, our leaders are still the same leaders that have been leading us for so many years. So I have nothing to say. I just pray for the better Nigerian, which I'm a citizen of. And I wish them more democracy days, if only they will come to realize that we actually have a democracy in our country.
Let us build Nigeria. Let us make Nigeria a great nation. Let us make Nigeria strong. Let us make Nigeria vigilant. Let us make Nigeria see the four corners after this world. We are giants of Africa. We can do better. We can exploit our natural resources and our mineral resources in order for us to achieve a greater heights in the apexial level of what? Of the world. Why are we still there? Nigeria will need to go higher.
Nigerian democracy has come a long way, and though there is still much to be desired, it is left for Nigerians to come together to sustain and maintain best democratic practices by being true to the rule of law and demanding the right thing to be done by leaders across board in the country.